This is the Capelli 900 WA, WA standing for walk around. It's a sports fishing type design like you might see in America. The beam is 3.25 metres wide, and it also has very large diameter tubes which offer not just buoyancy obviously but also good fendering. Because it's got such a big beam, there's a heck of a lot of space on board, and as you can see from this layout here, you've got a nice sort of dinette outside where you can socialise with your friends in the summer. It'll be very pleasant. There's also a cover that can go from the A-frame to the T-top here, and the T-top's a good idea as well. So in the Mediterranean it would be perfect to be driving along without the sun burning a hole in your head. Space is the main feature of this craft. It's already got an established hull design, the hull design that's been popular in the Ribson raid for a number of years. The same hull concept as they use in those race boats has been put into this design, and it works very, very well. Yesterday we were out in very steep seas, very, very challenging conditions, and it rode beautifully. Like all boats, it would take the odd wave that would hit the side of the boat and come over, but because of the protection afforded by the windscreen and this quite high cabin that's forward, we really didn't get very wet, and it was really nice to be secure behind a big windscreen and cabin. The cabin is the main feature of the boat in the sense that it's been raised in the bow, so you've got good room down below using the full width of the hull and the full width of the cabin top. You can easily sleep two people down below, and it's got a flushing toilet, electric flushing toilet, it's got an electric refrigerator, it's got a sink unit with running water in it. It really is a boat that you could cruise, perhaps have a week's cruising on board with the family, especially if you're enclosing the cockpit at the back with the optional cover. You've got a freshwater shower for coming over the back of the boat if you're bathing, and you've got copious amounts of storage space. There's so many lockers on board the boat, you would really not run out of space for putting your equipment on board. All the standard extras like GPS, compass, and it's got an electric anchor which can be operated remotely from the driving position. Very handy if you're pulling up to a beach somewhere and you're just short-handed. You can just let it go, it'll drop down, secure yourself there, come back on board, just push the switch on the dashboard, off you go again. Very nice touch, that. As I say, the hull is perhaps the best selling feature on top of the fact that it's obviously a cabin boat. So not only have you got a boat that you can travel in comfort, sleep on board, live on board, you know, for a holiday, but you can actually get to places in most sea conditions. I would say this boat could cope with just about most things that are challenging in our weather system. The A-frame at the back here is a fiberglass affair. It's a matter of personal choice. It seems to be solid enough and it functions as it should do. I personally like stainless, but you know, it's in the eye of the beholder really, the beauty of that. The T-top works well, as I say. It's very, very strong. It didn't rattle at all. A lot of boats we go out in which have this sort of stainless steel framework, they rattle like crazy as you're going along, and you get a lot of rattles and banging from a boat that's got a cabin because it's like a cacophony of sound, an echo chamber if you like. None of that on this boat at all. It was absolutely solid. When we were taking off and landing off the waves yesterday, absolutely no problems whatsoever. It rode beautifully, no rattles, no shakes. So impressed, very impressed indeed. The helm position on the boat is well protected, as I mentioned previously. You've got the option of either sitting here operating the boat behind the windscreen under the T-top. This is easily folds away, so you've got a helm position. When we were driving yesterday, we were driving it standing. Perfect helm position for that. Very good visibility forwards, very large windscreen, so you do get proper protection from it. Perhaps it's not desperately good from an aesthetics point of view, but from a practical point of view, you can't fault it. The wind goes over your head, the spray doesn't hit you. You've got a very good cubby here for putting odds and sods, because one of the big problems with boats is where do you put the little bits and pieces you're carrying, your glasses, binoculars, paperwork, anything. That's a good size, it's waterproof, it's well protected, nice little touch, nice feature. In the sides of the boat there are also lockers where other bits and pieces can be put. Again, useful for pumping up the tubes, what have you. Forward here you've got guardrails, and you can actually hang on to this all the way forward. And you've got this massive sunbed area here, which really is great for the Mediterranean. And for socialising, you could probably have 4 or 5 people up here. There's so much space for them. And it's a nice, safe area. Children could be up here whilst you're back there, socialising at the dining table. And this guardrail, as I say, it just adds a feeling of security. It gives you the impression that the boat is a dual-purpose or multi-purpose boat, not designed just for leisure, not designed just for commercial use, but it can cross those boundaries for both. This craft in its standard form, which does not include the T-top, but does include everything but the A-frame, which is made of fiberglass, as we mentioned, or if you like, radar arch, and this is £92,000. Now that represents very good value, considering you've got two 225 horsepower Suzuki 4-stroke outboard motors on the back, hydraulic steering, and all the equipment that we mentioned earlier. If you want the T-top, if you want the radar arch, you're talking about another £6,000. So it's still under 100,000 for a boat this size, which is really big dimensionally, even though it's only 9.3 metres overall length, is very good value indeed. And I can see this craft being very popular. Already the distributors, the UK distributors for the vessel, have sold a number of them, and they can take as many as they can produce, but sadly they can't produce enough for the British importers. But it is a very good product. Certainly it's a product that I would like to cruise with, use myself. If I was going any distances, this would be good in Scotland, equally good in the Mediterranean. I think it's a very good all-round package, and I can see why it's going to be one of the most popular cabin ribs on the market.